For a Civil War relic hunter like me, finding a bullet or a button is far more than just taking home a little piece of lead or brass. Every artifact represents something that one of the soldiers either owned or carried with him. Union boys from Vermont, Pennsylvania, Michigan, New York, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania. They were down here on southern land that might as well have been foreign land to them. And I guess technically for 4 years, it was foreign land. Every Civil War artifact we find is kind of a legacy to those young men, and of course those from the South on the rare occasion that we find them. The war between the states was such an interesting period. It happened long ago enough to feel like ancient history, but near enough that the things they left behind are still just a few inches below the soil in many areas of the country, but especially here in the Old Dominion state of Virginia. That's where I was born and raised, and it's why, for the last half a century, I've been walking the battlefields. This is not going to be one of those marathon hunts like I've been doing lately. I've only got about 4 hours to hunt today. First signal of the day must be something tiny. Okay, there's a little brass leather rivet. This one sounds good. It's got that old sound. Uh-oh. I see green. I don't know, it's definitely got a concave shape to it. Piece of a flat button here. But all right, brass already. Brass before lead, as a matter of fact. Yeah, what is that? A little piece of lead, like a little piece of campfire lead. All right, so we ought to be right on it. I see white patina down there. It is white patina, not silver, isn't it? What is that? Oh, it's a darn key. I thought ID tag, coin, what could that be? But it's just a key. Boy, that'll stop your heart. All right, so now that I've opened the hole up, it sounds deeper. Yeah, it's a little piece of lead, campfire lead. And this is what I call a mouse whisper. Wow, that's weak. Oh, look at that now. That looks like the bottom of a bullet that has been whittled. And it looks like they just whittled it off. Almost looks like an 8 or a B, but this is a signal that sounds very brass to me. It could be a shotgun shell, but it also could be a button. It still has the possibility of button to me. Uh-oh. I see green. Yeah, that's a button back. Now, is it only a button back, or does it have a front on it? And if it has a front on it, what is it? Nope. It's flat. Oh, no. What is that? That looks like a drooped wing eagle.
That is a drooped wing eagle. I don't know, but it's in good shape. I mean, it's not all toasted. I think that's an eagle in a shield. We shall see. Oh, look at that. Shotgun primer. Yeah, that's what it is. It's very odd how relic hunting goes. I was here the other day. In 3 days of hunting, I found 108 bullets. And now, I'm not finding any bullets at all. Little buck. Another little buck. There it is. It's a little piece of brass. I think it's a piece of rivet. Leather rivet, pretty sure. Alright, I had myself a nice roast beef sandwich for lunch. All those bullets I found here in the last couple of trips. And I have not found a bullet today, but that's okay with me because I found buttons and I'd rather find buttons any day. So much more personal. A bullet might have been in a soldier's hand for 15 seconds. A button might have gone with him from Antietam to Sharpsburg to Gettysburg to Cold Harbor to Fredericksburg to Shiloh. Looks like lead to me. That'd be the first bullet of the day. Looks like a round ball maybe. There's a 69 caliber round ball. So we are on the board for bullets. Alright, I've only got about an hour to hunt here. Alright, we got a good signal. It sounds like a bullet. Should be pretty close. Not feeling anything yet. Looks like a bullet to me. Pretty dropped 3-ringer. I think we have a bullet here. And I don't think it's deep. Wouldn't be surprised if I've already dug it out. Let's dig it with our fingers. Bullet? No, that's not it. That's just a rock. Okay, there it is. Here's your next Union 3-ring bullet. Man, I'll be darned if that does not sound like a button right there. No, she's out of the hole. How about some more green? I see green. I see green and round. Told you it sounded like a button. Okay, there's a back with a shank. Do we have a front? We do have a front. That's an eagle button. Cuff size. I love finding buttons. It sounded like there was something in there, but it also sounded trashy. So I found a little piece of iron in there, and I checked the hole, and now the signal is much better. It doesn't sound like a bullet. All right, right down there somewhere. All right, let's dig with our fingers and see what we see. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. What is that? Uh-oh. That looks like silver. Does that look like silver to you? It looks like silver to me. What do we have here? Oh. All right, what do we got? Silver coin. Is that... I'm not a coin guy. Is that what you call a barber? Nice. This has been a day of maybe not quantity finds, but quality finds. All right, whatever was in that hole is out of that hole. Oh, I see green round. Man, this has been a day, hasn't it? What is it? Maybe a 4-hole button? I'd be willing to bet my Relic Hunter's card that this is a bullet. There it is. There's a real pretty unfired round ball, 69 caliber. 3 feet away from that round ball. A little deeper than I thought. Another Civil War bullet of some kind. Oh, that's a 3-ringer. No! That's a Gardner! There's a Confederate bullet. That's rare in this camp. Because this is a Union camp, but that's a Confederate Gardner bullet. That's unusual here. Uncover here in my last 30 minutes. We dug it up, and it definitely sounds like a bullet. All right, there it is. Okay, another round ball. So I think that makes 3 round balls. Got a little round ball spill here. Yeah, man. Yep, still in there and still loud, so that makes it interesting. What did this Civil War soldier leave me to find? He left it right there, whatever it is. Sure looks like white patina of a bullet, doesn't it? I don't think that's a bullet. What is that? Oh, just a big piece of camp lead. Big old folded over, look at that. A folded over piece of camp lead. Hammered down, melted, then maybe flattened with a hammer, maybe folded over. Okay, so there's a little small half of probably a mule shoe. Because I stood up after covering up the mule shoe hole, and I got another reading just off to one side. Yeah, another round ball. So this bullet was laying close to that mule shoe. I already told myself this is going to have to be my last hole. But doggone it, look what I see. Glass. Alright, let's take a hunk out. Buck. Alright, we'll end it on a buck. Leave some relics for next time. As enjoyable as today's relic hunt was, I think I'm even more excited about the relic that I'm about to show you that was unearthed decades ago in Cold Harbor, and a story that I have literally been saving for 2 years to share with you. Any Civil War enthusiast who's ever visited the Cold Harbor battlefield has certainly seen an old building known as the Watt House. The Watt House property was the center of the Gaines Mill battle in 1862. And in fact, General Fitzjohn Porter requisitioned the Watt House to use as his headquarters. At the time of the Civil War, the Watt House was owned by Sarah Watt, the widow of Hugh Watt, who had built the house and who had passed away in 1850. In 1946, the National Park Service purchased the Watt House property, and they went on an immediate search for anyone who had information about the history of the home from the Civil War to what was then present-day 1946. They were only able to find one person who had lived in the Watt House in those early years, and that one person was my great-aunt, Sarah Galding. I have a newspaper clipping here from 1953 written about the conversations that the National Park Service had with my great-aunt. Her family owned the house in the early 1900s, and she lived there from 1906 to 1912. And she said that in those years, twice a year, Civil War veterans would visit the Watt House and sit underneath one of the trees in the yard and reminisce and visit their old battlefield. The Watt House saw one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. And one of the grisly facts about that is that in 1862, there was terrible bloodshed. It's a known fact that many of the Union dead from 1862 remained unburied for 2 years. And then in 1864, when Lee and Grant met on that land at Cold Harbor, the troops marching in to that battlefield marched past the bodies of their comrades, some still sprawled across the trenches. The newspaper article says that my great-aunt Sarah told the National Park Service that she had lived there only a couple of decades after the Civil War, and she assured them that there had been no major changes, construction, or renovation of the house, that it still looked pretty much like it did in the Civil War. In fact, this photograph taken by a newspaper reporter from the Richmond Times-Dispatch is one of the only photographs that I've ever seen that shows the Watt House in the condition that it was in when it was still in private hands. She did say that the only repair work and renovations done to the house was the removal of much of the siding to be replaced because it was riddled with bullet holes.
She also said that on one side of the house, the holes in the siding were as big as small apples. And all I can think of is that was probably grape shot or canister shot that damaged the house in the battle. One of the sad civilian casualties of the Battle of Gaines Mill was Sarah Watt herself. When FitzJohn Porter took over the house, the Watt family was forced to get out. Sarah Watt, then a very old woman, was loaded into a wagon and taken to Richmond. But the trip was far too arduous for her, and within a few days, she had died. Hugh and Sarah had a son named George Watt. George was somewhat of an engineer and inventor, and he invented a type of plow and moorboard that was a vast improvement on the plows and moorboards that were in use in his lifetime. And this was just after the Civil War. His plow and moorboard revolutionized plowing for his day. So well known was he among farmers, he was called the plowman of the South. I have to be honest with you and tell you that I'm not sure whether my father found what I'm about to show you or whether it's one that I found. But relic hunting the Adams farm, one of us unearthed this plow. It's one of George Watt's earliest plow creations. George lived in the Watt house after the war was over. And as you can see, the plow clearly bears his name. And the last patent date on the plow is 1872. So we know it was made at least 1872 or later. It kind of completes a circle for me. Hugh and Sarah Watt building that little home in the 1830s to raise their family there. Hugh passing away just 20 years later in 1850. Sarah living there peacefully until the Battle of Gaines Mill, where she was forced to leave her beloved little home, never to return. And then the National Park buying the place in 1946 and spending years searching for someone who could tell them any history about the house in between the Civil War and modern times. And that one person being my great aunt Sarah. And this relic, not a Civil War relic, is a priceless relic in my collection. All of the families from all over the United States, Northern Union boys, Southern soldiers who lost their lives within sight of this little home. I hope you enjoyed what you saw today. If you did, I would invite you to subscribe to the channel. I'd also invite you to be back with me again next Friday at 10:45 a.m. when we'll release another video of relic hunting. I always enjoy talking to you, telling these stories, showing you some of the things from the past that have been found, but also showing you that some of it's still there today to be found. I hope you'll come along with me the next time we go to dig it up. I'm the Battlefield Walker. Be good and say your prayers.